G'day guys, Rolfus bringing a new video here. This weekend coming up, as we're recording this, there's going to be a 2,000 point tournament here in Hobart. I wanted to go through my list with you guys today, my thoughts on it, my thoughts on Necron Tournament play in general, and also the new data slate. The Balance update that came out for tournaments recently as well. We'll get started with the list. I've got a Battalion and a Supreme Command Detachment. In my Battalion, I'll start with the HQs. I've got a Lord. He's going to have a Res Orb and a Staff of Light. He's got the Relic, the Orb of Eternity, so it comes back on a 4+ for guys who resurrect. Very handy, bit of an auto take. I only had points for a Lord. I wanted an Overlord, a bit of a choppy Overlord, but I sort of ran out of points, so I don't know. I could probably make room for him, but I haven't at this stage. My second HQ, my Battalion, is a Cryptek Technomancer. He has the Staff of Light, he has the Relic Staff of Light, the Voltaic Staff, because it's just really handy. 4 shots that can explode on 6s with 2 damage is just so good. My third HQ is a Royal Warden. Now, I haven't used him for quite a while, but I just find that the fallback shoot and charge is too handy. It's a really good bonus to have. He has the Relic, the Veil of Darkness, because you've got to have it. The idea is he sort of helps out when he needs to, but he can also bugger off with like some, like even just like 5 Immortals, he can take an objective. They actually dish out a lot of firepower. If you've got 5 Immortals with their Gauss, Blaster, Reapers, what they're called, and you put on this Capacitor Disintegrators and you have a strat that 6s auto hit, X6s, if you do the stratagems, 2 CP, you can auto win on a 6 to hit, and also on a 6 to hit you get 2 shots. So those 10 shots they pump out can get a lot of DACA off, especially adding in his 4 shots at rapid fire range to 2 damage. You can clear an objective pretty easily and just really threaten the back line there for not much investment in points. So that's the free HQ, so I paid 2 CP for 2 extra relics there. No extra Waller traits, I didn't really find any I really needed, and I want to save some CP for other stuff. We'll go on to the troops next. We have the 5 models just talked about there, just the Gauss Blasters. Just 5-man guys to fill out the battalion, sit on the home objective, maybe set them up on the board to take another objective. I'll talk about secondaries I might be taking as well later in the discussion. 2 units of 20 warriors with Gauss Reapers, the 12-inch range guns, 2 shots, just so handy to have. Fairly hard to move, unless they get wiped out in the one turn. You can usually bring most of them back with your Relic Res Orb. Coming back on a 4+, rerun 1s, it's pretty reliable. And if they don't all come back to the Res Orb, you've got your Cryptek and bring a few back as well. That's it for my troops. So 2 units of Warriors, unit of Immortals, 3 troop choices, beautiful. Elites, I have 5 Scorpex. With the new data slate, that's pretty cool. But I just find I need that counter punch in combat, and Lichguard just don't do enough for their points. 280 points, yeah, they've got 3 attacks each, but it just isn't enough. I just found it just is not enough for their points. Hard to kill, but then you need some hitting power. So for like 175 points for this with 5-man unit, lots of attacks coming out. They can be mildly done now, sitting on 2 throwing 1s in combat, and then if they're into the Silent King, they're right on the wound as well, and that is very, very tasty. You can put some stratagem on them, -1 to wound, so they're pretty hard to shift. Now the Cryptek can bring 1 back. So that's pretty cool as well. That's my only elite choice, I believe. Then we go into the heavy support choices. We have 2 Doomsday Arcs. They're cool. I find they're good for just setting up the board and just blockading like a section, or you just throw them into a pretty meaty enemy combat unit, and they find it really hard to actually kill them with their transhuman and their vibrant vulnerable saves, and just the amount of wins got to get through. Plus the Gauss Flare Arrays, really, really, really good anti-horde unit. Killing capability. The actual cannons are they're good. I mean, they can basically one-shot a Titan, but most of the time you won't be even one-shotting a Marine, to be honest. And if you move, you get less power. So the Doomsday Cannon is just a nice bonus. I might even actually prefer running these as Ghost Arcs in the near future if I get the actual models, just because you save some points and you can bring back warriors. I'll probably run a 60-man warrior army and just keep bringing them back. That might be something in the future, but I'm not going to do that right now. Because my other heavy support shots I just built and painted and bought are 3 Scorpec Heavy Destroyers with their Gauss Blaster, Decimator, Death Cannons, whatever they're called. like I said, the Doomsday cannons are good, but they're not reliable enough, especially against like a lot of Dreadnought meta down here in Tassie. So I wanted that heavy punch. They can be mobile, be done, sitting on 2s, running once to hit. And they can also get the 2 CP strap to reroll to wound. So only 1 shot each, but that's 3 shots hitting on 2s, rolling 1s. Pretty reliably hitting on 2s as well. And then strength 10, you can reroll the wounds for 2 CP, or you can just go Techno Oracular targeting for 1 CP and auto wound there if you really wanted to. So pretty reliable, high AP, and the free damage is just, yeah, it's nice, it's good. It's a minimum 2 damage against Dreadnoughts. So you're going to hit the Dreadnoughts pretty hard, and then hopefully, even if you just get a few, bracket them a little bit, it does save a lot of shots going into the Warriors. And then my last detachment is the Supreme Command Detachment, which is going to be the Silent King. He's also my Warlord, he's got his Warlord trait or something, he's got 20 different rules. Again, I needed anti-tank, and his Menhirs, what are they called? They've got really good 36-inch range, strength 10, -4, flat 6 damage. So these guys at the back here, and these 2 Doomsday Arcs, I've got anti-tank pretty well covered. I've got anti-horde pretty well covered. Anti-elite infantry is a bit tricky. The Scorpex might help with that. But the Silent King is pretty good against anti-elite because he's got lots of damage 2 and damage 3 guns as well. But I think just the weight of shots from these Warriors is just going to pound into any elite infantry and just whittle them down enough to the point where they're not really much of a threat. So that's it. It's 2,000 points on the nose. That's always good. I've pretty much gone for it. I've got my little notes here. I've gone for my HQ, my troops. I've got 13 CP because he gives me +3. He refunds the battalion, so I go 12 up to 15. But I have paid for 2 relics, so it's doing 2 CP. Like I said, no extra Warlord traits at this time. Now, we're going to go into Dynasties. Now, that's the bloody hard part. I wanted a nice rounded list, which it probably won't win. It probably won't do great. I'm hoping to get like a 3 and 2. Maybe get top 10. I'll be happy with that. The Dynasty, I've just found it's impossible to choose. Because like one Dynasty will buff half the army really well, and the other half the army won't get any benefit from it. And vice versa, or will just be like a bit lackluster buff. So I think I've narrowed it down to 3. So I'm going to try to run the Custom Dynasty, which is Relentless, Expansionist, and Eternal Conquerors, which is the pre-game move of 6 inches. Helps out the Ghost, Doomsday Arcs a bit. I can get maybe a bit of line of sight with these guys. I could probably be a bit more aggressive with them. I could push out further to get line of sight, or I could pull them back to put them in cover or something like that. Get the Warriors up the board to threaten those midfield objectives a bit better. Get the Scorpex up a bit better. They're not really designed to push out, they're designed to sit back and sort of counter punch something that gets too close, so I probably won't do it with that. So that's pretty handy. It gives them everything OBSEC and double OBSEC on my troops already, which has worked out really well in the past, especially when you like throw a cheap character into like a pretty standard unit and you just get that OBSEC and they don't have OBSEC and you get that point where it's victory points win the game. Killing stuff doesn't as much anymore. And plus they have released the terrain layout for most of the tables, and it's going to be pretty dense. So I'm going to have to get up the board and get close anyway. So that's that one. Mephrit I've been running mostly just because it's so handy. You get extra 3-inch range on these guys, so it goes to range 15. That makes a massive difference. You go Doomsday Arcs, I keep saying Ghost Arcs for some reason. Doomsday Arcs, their Gauss Flare arrays become AP -2 at like range 13.5. So a little bit extra range on them. Extra AP, and that -2 really helps. A lot of stuff ignores AP -1 at the moment. So, but again, it doesn't really boost these guys. It doesn't really boost up these guys at the back. The Silent King doesn't get the Dynastic traits anyway. It does help these guys. So it does help probably 90% of the army. And plus the Talent for Annihilation. I've got all the... Yes, Talent for Annihilation strat for 1 CP. Any 6s to wound, do a mortal wound up to maximum 3, which can be really helpful against elite infantry and that sort of stuff. So I might stick with Mephrit just because it makes the army a lot more maneuverable and just more damage output. And I actually got 4 choices. My third choice is the Szarekhan, his Dynasty, because it's got mortal wound protection, which helps. That 5-up film no pain against mortals is just amazing. And it's also got a reroll to wound, so that should help pretty much every unit. I mean, the Warriors, it doesn't help a huge amount. But if you get like Doomsday Arcs firing and you get like 2 or 3 hits through and you roll a 1 to wound and you just want to get a free reroll, it just really makes it more reliable. Helps these guys at the back as well. It does help these guys can help these guys in combat, but you get the rerolls from the Silent King in combat anyway for wounding. So that's my 3 main choices. A possibility just because it's fun and like Novok. That's probably my favourite dynasty since I started playing Necrons in 8th. In 8th it wasn't great, it was just a bit of fun. But in 9th it's pretty good. You get the +1 to charge, which is not really going to be massively helpful with this army. But you do get the extra AP in combat, which will help with like the warriors become a bit of a threat. Then you can also pay CP for them to become strength 5, and also another CP for 2 attacks. So that's 40 attacks hitting on 2s, because the mob will be done. Also rerolling the wound because of the Silent King, -1 AP, just makes them an actual threat in combat. And you know, makes Terminators go from a 2 up to a 3 up and that sort of thing. I mean, against Storm Shield Terminators, you're probably going to struggle still, but you can hopefully whittle them down enough so that extra, you know, 10 or 15 attacks they get will actually help. But yeah, so those are my 4 choices. I did have a 5th one, but I'm pretty much going to table that idea. It was going to be +3 inch range, and then another, and it's going to be OBSEC. So that might be an idea. That's a bit of both worlds, a bit of extra range just to help these guys out. And just to give everything OBSEC. That's another. So I've got 5 choices. That's the army's pretty much set in stone. Dynasty is, I have no idea. I've got one more practice game against Black Templars before I have to actually really decide what I'm going to take. So yeah, wish me luck. I'll probably release this video maybe the Sunday after the tournament. So if I remember, I might put in this in the description of this video what I actually took and how I went. Oh no, I'll do a follow-up video. Yeah, I'll do a follow-up video. I think that's it for the army. Yeah. So a tough little army. I quite like it. I think it's going to be fun to play. It's pretty tough. I mean, you got Drukhari running around. You got Grey Knights running around. So, am I confident? No. Am I going to have fun? I'm going to try to. After my last time, I didn't even bother doing a video about the last one because I believe I went 2 and 3. The result wasn't too bad. I got quite a few victory points, but I just rolled really badly, and it just annoyed me. So I thought, no, I'll leave it. I'll calm down. We'll wait for the next tournament, and we'll do a bit more of a storyline of this tournament and talk about it a bit more. So that's it for the army. Let's have a quick little break, and I'll be back, and we'll talk about the Dataslate next. Okay, I'm back after my little break, and I just realised I was going to talk about how I'm actually going to play the army before I went into the Balance Dataslate. I've got the Dataslate ready on my phone. So basically my army is, I'm going to have first wave is going to be the Doomsday Arcs sitting out in front. So they're going to push out and take the mid objectives or the side objectives if I get first turn. That's where the 6-inch pre-game move will probably help me. So that's why I'm sort of leaning towards that Dynasty choice. And then I'm just going to have a line of warriors and stuff that push behind that. So basically they're going to be a roadblock. They sit forward. They most likely both won't die. One will probably die. I have to sacrifice something to, you can't have everything survive every turn. So I'll sacrifice one of these guys depending on which I feel is best to lose. And then behind that, the warriors will come through with their 40 shots, rerun to hit, put some CP into them, throw some firepower forward, have some fun. And then if anything survives that sort of wave, I'll have the Scorpexer as well to push out. So that's up to my turn 2 plan. And then I'm just sort of going to scrap with people and just hopefully last them. Running with these guys, falling back, shooting, resorbing with the Cryptech, blasting right at the back of these guys. Silent King's just sort of going to hover in the middle. Hover in the mid-board and go where he needs to go. Just throwing in his shots and then his attacks and then using his fight last debuff to help out. But I think it's going to be pretty good. That's my basic plan. So Doomsday Arcs, first wave. These guys probably the second wave. Scorpex probably the third wave. Unless I really have a priority target I want to send in and actually sacrifice them, because once they go in, they're pretty much going to be dead. Unless it's like turn 3 or 4 onwards where they're just helping mop up tough, like they can take on a character or something like that. But yeah, so I think it's pretty good. He's going to just going to be sitting there, giving his buff to fall back and shoot, and then probably like turn maybe 4 or 5, just send him out and take an objective or something, or maybe even send him out a bit early just to try to take an objective off someone. He can now send off the Scorpex because they're cool. I've even actually possibly thought of moving these guys out somewhere to like a flank or something like that. Maybe chuck him in some dense cover that's out of the way, just to annoy the opponent. But we'll see how we go. So lots of plays, lots of different ways I can play this army. Secondary wise, I'm probably going to take Code of Combat. So every time I kill something with the Silent King, or this guy here, I get 3 points. It's pretty easy points to grab, to be honest. Probably do raise the banners, because I think most of the missions are pretty for raise the banners, because I can just move these guys up first turn, or just leave these. I think use my characters to raise banners because they don't really have much of an aura. So you can usually get your home field objectives with your raise the banners quite easily. And then for a third one, I'm not too sure of the way the. I've looked that much. You should make an army based around secondaries. I don't do that. My third one's normally based on the opposing army or the mission objective. So the third one could possibly be something like. I've actually found that engaging all fronts is quite good to this army because you're pushing out and that sort of stuff. You've got some stuff to sit in your home quarters and these to push out in the other enemy quarters. But I'll see how we go about it. I'm not giving up any secondaries easily apart from Assassinate. I've got the 6 characters because these 2 count as characters when they die. So that's why having the 3 characters in the battalion doesn't really make much difference to that. These guys are normally hiding in the back and hard to get to anyway, so I found Assassinate's actually quite hard to get against me, even though it gives up lots of points. I don't give up much in the way of bringing it down. No prisoners, even that doesn't really give up that many points at the moment. Because even if you kill, I think it's about, well, that's 4 points there, and that's probably number. So I probably give up about 5 points before reanimation. So you have to do lots of reanimation to actually make it worthwhile to bring it down. But that's my secondary ideas. There's always Purge the Vermin. That's always a good one. Ancient Machineries is a pretty handy one if you've got a pretty well hidden home objective. You can just sit down there and just keep getting the points up and up and up. So I've got 3 decent Necron objectives to choose from. So if I need to take one from one pool and use that as a basic objective and put my Necron into another pool, it sort of works out quite well like that. That's it for my battle plan, my secondaries and that sort of stuff. Now I'm going to play the army, and then we'll be back onto the balance update data slate next. Okay, I'm back with the data slate update balance. Okay, I'm back with a balanced data slate update next. That's what it's called. I'm just going to sort of briefly talk about this. I'll start the Necron update because that's the one I'm sort of know the most about. And I'll probably just give a general feel about the rest of them. So Necrons, they got core and the destroyers. Some of the canoptic units got core as well, like Wraiths, and also the Flayed ones got core. I'm not a big fan of this. It's a good update for a balance. So it sort of makes sense that tournament play is not designed to be fluffy as normal play is, but I think it should still be based on the fluff. Giving Flayed ones core is just really weird and does not make any sense because Flayed ones they're like infected with madness and you want them nowhere near your army. Like these guys want nothing to do with them. They come in, they're not even welcome. They just come in uninvited. They're like that annoying party friend who just comes to any party and annoys everyone, and yeah, they have a fun time. They have a few laughs, but you don't really want them there. It gets a bit inappropriate at late stage in the party. Destroyers, they shouldn't be core. There should be like your Dynasty troops, like your core troops, like your Warriors, your Immortals, your Lich Guard, and that sort of thing. And then there should be like detachment specific stuff, like if you take a detachment of Destroyer Cult, you get like -1 damage or a 5-up invade. I don't know, you get some bonus. And then you also take like a Canoptic detachment as well, and they get like a bonus. Much like the way Dark Angels work, I think that'd be really, really good, and I think there should be a Warzone book coming out like that. Just because it makes more sense. You have the Destroyer Cults running around over there doing their own thing, being idiots. You have like your Canoptic units doing their little Canoptic-y thingies, building something over there or whatever. And then you've got your core Dynasty troops doing their thing as well. I think that's just really, really cool and really fluffy, and the best way they can actually do it. Obviously, giving everything core is a very quick, easy fix. It's quite simple, which is really nice. I like Necrons because they're a pretty simple army. They don't do anything too fancy. They just be tough and do what they've got to do. So that's it for my little spiel on the Necrons. The rest of the data slate, I think, is quite good. The Chaos one's cool, makes them a bit better. Again, they're going to get a big update soon, so it's just a nice, quick, easy fix just to give them their, what's it called? Death of the False Emperor against everything, which is quite cool. I think Knight's got an update or something like that. I'll have a quick look at what I'm looking at. Yeah, other stuff got updates. The flyer update is quite good because I think you shouldn't have 5 flyers flying around on the battlefield. I remember in 8th edition playing against James as Drukhari and like just getting tabled like turn 1 because he had the entire army of flyers. It was just like, it's just not fun. Onto the points updates for Adeptus Mechanicus and Drukhari. I think they've really, I think that Adeptus Mechanicus have just been at, I'm probably saying it wrong. No, I'm saying it right. They got nerfed to the ground where it's just like, they made them just stupid. Like, I don't know why they even released that Warzone book for them. It's like they should have, well, don't get me onto Warzone books at the moment anyway. I think a codex should come out, at least give it like 3 or 4 months of play before you bring out an update for it. I mean, come on, seriously. You have your Necrons who have been around for a year and Space Marines have been around for a year. Just give them something, you know, a bit different. Release the bloody Space Marine 9th edition supplements instead of like giving like Adeptus Mechanicus, Drukhari, Orcs, or something straight away, straight out of the box. At least give people a chance to play their codexes before they have to bloody start worrying about buying another book and more units and that sort of stuff. But Warzone Charadon, I think it is, and the other one, something Strife, what the Drukhari got, just ruined it, like instantly ruined the game. Like before that, the Adeptus Mechanicus codex and the Drukhari codex were fine. I played a few games and then we actually had a pretty good game against James on here. I took a fairly average Necron army, he took a pretty cool Adeptus Mechanicus army, it was quite fun. And then we played another game where he had all the Warzone extra stuff and just wiped me out turn 2. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen that game yet. It was just, yeah, just dumb. It's just ridiculous. Like, here's my bucket of dice, it's all hitting on 2s, re-rolling. It's winning like on 4s or 3s, re-rolling 1s. It's -2. You shoot me back, I've got a 2-up save, you can't get any minuses. Your -2 guns don't really matter much against me back. It's just like, so you can kill me instantly and I can't even kill one of your models. It's like, that's not a fun game. Then they brought that back with a few more patches and that stuff, but it wasn't enough. But then they went through and just absolutely nuked everything that was half decent in the Adeptus Mechanicus book. And then they didn't really give many buffs back, which I don't think you should be buffing and debuffing at the same time. I think you should just debuff the top stuff, just a little bit, and then let the other stuff sort of rise up, and then maybe in another data slate, make that update. Adjust the points again. Because this brings me on to my case of Drukhari. Oh my god, Drukhari. They're not ha ha ha, they're just, oh my god. Drukhari is such a weird army to get right, and I don't think they can really, because they're so fast, hit so hard, but the game's just pretty much over turn 2. And that's never really that fun. Maybe I'm just not the best player against them, I don't know. That's just my feeling, I suppose. It's not like any data behind it. I'm sure James will have a lot of data. But the fact they nuked all the tough stuff and then buffed all the other stuff which was still good to make it as good as the tough stuff was before it got nerfed. Means you just sort of shifted the Drukhari meta from one thing to another, and it's just bonkers. I think it's going to be, I think the next 3 months before we get the next update, it's going to be Drukhari be back on top again with some ridiculous list. I've played a semi-serious list where it had like Grotesques and Telos, and they're all damage -1. I was like, oh, that's nice. So here's my I had my Scorpec destroyers, and I had the Lockhurst destroyers, not the heavy ones at this time. Trying to kill these bloody Telos and Grotesques, and they were just doing -1 damage. Just like, I'm damage 1 against you, and you're damage like 2 or whatever against me. Plus you got Feel No Pains, you got some ridiculous Death Lance off your butt, doing like D6 +2 damage. It's just like, okay, so that was over pretty quick, that game. It was just, yeah. And again, it wasn't fun. It was basically just killing my stuff and I wasn't able to kill his stuff back. Maybe if I took a harder list it might have been better, but yeah. Buffing and debuffing armies at the same time in such a massive way is just not the way to go. Just debuff slightly what's really good. Maybe a point or 2 here. Not like 4 or 5, not 5 or 10 points in one hit, because that's just too much. Just to see how if the army's rebalanced a little bit. But yeah, that's my take on the data slate. It's cool, but I think Drukhari were just a bit too much one way and too much double way, and should have just been a bit more like that. But that's it for the video, I think. Just a bit of a sit down and talk video. Hopefully I have some more battle reports soon. Unfortunately, coming to Christmas, it's busy. Everyone's busy. Everyone's building and painting armies for the tournament. I know Lewis is building up a well, he's got all the new toys for the Black Templar, so he's trying to build those and paint those for the tournament. Pete's got his orcs up and going. he had to go away for a wedding, so he hasn't got his army ready yet. So he's still building and painting orcs for the tournament. And then I've got James, who plays Drakari. He's a good bloke, but I don't like the army. He's off with Melbourne doing work. And then I've got Reese, he's got a Blade Angels army. I actually played him the other day with this list. Wasn't this exact list, no. A similar list, but that was quite funny. He had Blade Angels, that was quite a good game. I think he won that by 5 points. It was 85 points to 80 points. But I think these changes I could have done better. And then everyone else, yeah, busy building, painting, that sort of stuff. Doing stuff with family and work and that sort of thing this time of year. So hopefully I'll get some more guests on and play some games against them. Hopefully I might do some more games where I actually just record and don't play. Hopefully in the new year we'll be doing a new like tournament style like I did with James, Pete and Reese. But I'm going to be doing it with Lewis and Pete. So I'm going to be like Pete back and have Lewis because they also live very close by and they can sort of fit games in around their schedule. So I think it's going to be Necrons, Orcs and possibly Black Templars. So that's going to be pretty cool. It'll be all 9th edition codexes, which is good. And then, yeah. So the future looks bright. It's just a bit quiet at the moment. Once Christmas is over and done with, it quietens down a bit. We do hit the hot cross bun season though. Don't become a bakery manager, it's not fun. And then, but luckily I hopefully won't have to do too much in the way of hot cross buns for a while yet. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!